I am Neo-Barbarian. Welcome to the channel.
Bear witness to the slow fall of civilization.
The world fundamentally misunderstands Donald Trump. Today we're going to go back in history and compare past Donald Trump with present Donald Trump, and you will see some eerie similarities. My purpose in this video, screaming into the void, is to enlighten you upon the true nature of Donald Trump, and to share the secret yet to be divulged to the world. We're going back to 1987, to the Larry King Live show.
Donald Trump, the multi-millionaire real estate developer, is sounding more like a politician these days than America's most grandiose and controversial builder. When he disagrees with a matter of policy, he does it in a big way. Today, he sunk $95,000 into a full-page newspaper ad appearing in many papers criticizing the administration's foreign policy. Could the Manhattan magnate be eyeing the White House, or is he just calling a bluff? Are you a Republican, Donald?
I'm a Republican, yes.
Larry King asks Donald Trump straight up, are you a Republican? Are you intending to run for the presidency on the Republican ticket? Now, many people, including myself, have called Donald Trump a former Democrat. He is right here is clearly stating to everyone that he is a Republican. There are other times when he has considered running for the Reform Party. Generally speaking, he has always had particular views, as you will see in this video, that do not necessarily align with the traditional Democrat or Republican parties in the United States.
So if there were politics, it would be as a Republican.
It would be, I guess, as a Republican, but I don't see that there will be politics.
Why the ad, then? I mean, you said you wanted to say it. There's a lot of ways you can say things. I guess an ad is one way. You could have called up shows like this who would have been trying to have you come on. Why now?
Well, it was very easy. I was tired, and I think a lot of people are tired of watching other countries ripping off the United States. This is a great country. They laugh at us. Behind our backs, they laugh at us because of our own stupidity and the...
This is one of Donald Trump's great insecurities that you can see. There's nothing that Donald Trump hates more than being laughed at. He would much rather be hated than be belittled in such a way. And I think he would rather the United States be hated than to be considered weak.
The leaders, I mean, what we have a Persian Gulf situation. You saw what happened today. Billions and billions of dollars are being spent on getting...
Billions and billions. Sounds familiar already.
...oil for Japan, and they're not paying anything for it. Essentially, they're paying nothing for it. We have tankers going back and forth that our men are protecting, losing their lives. I mean, they're losing their lives, Larry. We're spending billions and billions on protection, and those tankers are going over to Japan.
In fairness, I have to throw out some criticism right now. Didn't we just send some missiles over to the Houthis to benefit the Israelis and the Europeans under the leadership of Donald Trump? There's a little bit of inconsistency here. But generally speaking, this has been Donald Trump's policy. This has been Donald Trump's point of view across the world. But for some reason, in that particular part of the world, around Israel mainly, he has a different way of dealing with things.
Larry, the country is losing $200 billion a year. $200 billion.
That's peanuts compared to what we're losing today.
This country cannot continue to lose $200 billion. Japan is one of the wealthiest machines ever created. Saudi Arabia, and it's not, hey, let me tell you, I'm a big beneficiary of Japan. They buy my apartments in spades. They're fine people, but they must be, they're laughing to themselves as to what's happening over here. We're not kidding ourselves. They're laughing to themselves, Larry, as to what's happening with this country.
Hate him, love him, do not laugh at Donald Trump. Because revenge will be coming for you.
But Donald, a lot of people feel the way you feel, and a lot of people maybe with as much money, or certainly some people with as much money feel the way you feel. Why did you go public?
Because somebody had to, Larry. I watch it again, and it's a very important point. Japan is a money machine. Saudi Arabia is a money machine. Kuwait, these are money machines, the greatest ever created. The United States is, if it were a corporation, it would be bankrupt. It's losing $200 billion a year. For years now, it's been losing that. What right do we have to go out and defend? Why aren't these countries, these wealthy money machines, paying us for the defense of their freedom and their nations? Why aren't they paying us?
It sounds like how Donald Trump has been criticizing NATO, does it not? He has believed this all along. Yet no one really believed him.
We are kind of the world's keeper, are we not?
I don't believe we should be. I think Japan should certainly make a contribution. Japan is one of the reasons they're so successful is they don't have to worry about defense, because why should they worry about defense when the United States will do it for nothing? I mean, it's crazy. Saudi Arabia, I mean, you saw what happened with Saudi Arabia. We're going through the Gulf. We have old-fashioned, obsolete minesweepers. We ask Saudi Arabia for the use of their minesweepers, which are the best made, the most modern, the best, and they say no. Who are they to tell us no? We're not going to give you our minesweepers. It's ridiculous.
True. This has been Donald Trump's position all along. And we will see this through this entire interview. People say it's a shtick. People say he's working an angle. People say Donald Trump is a liar. But he's awfully consistent for a liar. I think there's something more to it than that. Let's keep listening.
This is an issue that's been bothering me. It's been bothering a lot of people that I know. And I think it's an issue that had to be brought out to the fore. The concept of America financing and paying and losing lives for countries that won't even allow us to use their ships, it's ridiculous. I have no intention of running for president, but I'd like the point to get across that we have a great country, but it's not going to be great for long if we're going to continue to lose $200 billion a year. You're going to get into the early 90s, 1990, 1991, and the whole thing's going to blow, because this country cannot continue to support Japan and Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and many other countries that are much wealthier than we are. We're not a wealthy country. You can't be a wealthy country when you're losing the kind of money that we're losing.
We're a debtor country.
So the United States did last a little longer than Donald Trump predicted. The economy kept rolling. President Bill Clinton managed to revive the economy and balance the budget, but it wasn't enough, and we're way worse off than we were in 1987 when it comes to these matters.
Don, why don't, there are some who said this, why don't people like you, you and people like you, build low-income, medium-income housing?
Well, as far as building housing is concerned, and low-income housing, I've built a lot of it. I haven't recently, but I've built a lot of it. I built senior citizens housing and beautiful, beautiful housing. I built low-income housing, and I'm very proud of it. The policies of the government right now just don't allow it, because really what's happened by the tax incentives that were taken away and by the lack of federal programs. You used to have federal programs, you don't have them anymore. And it really doesn't allow it to be done on any economic basis. And it's a pretty rough situation. I mean, you just don't have subsidized housing, low-income, moderate-income housing, and it's a really big problem.
And if they did...
And this is another thing that people misunderstand about Donald Trump. Donald Trump does not believe in small government. Donald Trump is not a fiscal conservative. He believes in social programs. He's been talking about them his whole life. And it's not just for political reasons. He tells you the truth, but no one believes it. No one believes it because his opinions have never been the mainstream of either party. Yet somehow people throw their own assumptions at him and expect that he's playing some sort of game. They either think he's lying, or they might even think he's lying and that he actually agrees with them and he's just playing a part. By some spell, he's able to galvanize support from people who vehemently disagree with his stated positions because they don't actually take him seriously, because he's hyperbolic. He's hyperbolic. What he actually says exactly what he thinks, and just no one believes him.
What's the drive, Donald, that you don't have to do this anymore, that keeps you wanting to build more and more?
Well, it's a creative process. I enjoy the creative process. I like building things. I like building beautiful buildings. I like doing other things. I've been doing a lot of other things. It's a creative process, Larry, and it really gives you something to do with your life, and it's something that you can feel fulfilled and proud of when you're finished.
I've been listening to a lot of old interviews of Donald Trump. This is another thing that has really come to the surface, that's boiled to the surface, that people do not understand about Donald Trump. He considers himself an artist, believe it or not. He's a builder. He believes in creation. It's not just here where he says it. He says it in many old interviews. But he's able to create more than buildings. He's able to create avatars of himself in people's minds. Then people reflect that avatar onto Donald Trump. They throw all their attention at Donald Trump. And Donald Trump takes that energy in like a sail takes in wind and steers towards his goals. Because Donald Trump is a warlock, you see. He has harnessed the power, the ultimate power of the universe, which is attention. Now Larry King is going to take some phone calls from guests.
We're ready to go to your phone calls. Redlands, California. Hello.
Hello, sir. Comment and a couple of quick questions. I think it would be really a big mistake for the United States to attempt to tax its allies for protection, because that would demote them to the role of a client state of the United States. And secondly, I think it'd also be pretty unconstitutional because the Congress has the authority to raise armies and support them with taxes for the defense of the United States, not to be hired out as a mercenary force.
Neo-Barbarian does not have any problem with other countries being client states to the United States. But the Neo-Barbarian does not quite like the idea of the United States being a mercenary force for the world either. Let's see what Donald Trump has to say about that.
Donald?
Well, number one, it wouldn't at all be unconstitutional. And number two, if you're talking about taxing, I'm not talking about taxing. I think that people should make a contribution, and a major contribution, other countries, to this country for what we're doing to keep their freedom and to keep them free and to allow them to be free. And would you rather have that, or would you rather see this country to go totally bust in another couple of years because this country cannot afford to defend Japan and every other country in the world? It just cannot afford it.
It wouldn't be a tax. It would be more a payment in kind, like for landing space at airports, right?
It would be, you could call it anything you want.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, I don't care what it's called, but I think that Japan and all of these other countries should certainly pay. They can well afford to pay.
So since the beginning, Donald Trump has wanted his allies to pay, just like he wants NATO to pay. We pay for the military, why shouldn't they? We have military bases all around the world, you see? The cynical way of looking at that is that all that protection that we're giving the world is not really for their benefit at all, is it? The military bases all around the world are for our benefit. I believe it is misguided, tactically, but that is what they're for.
Toronto, hello.
Yes, good evening, Larry. My
Hi.
question for Mr. Trump, it's a two-part question relating to international trade. Is the solution to the American trade deficit to restrict trade through protectionist policies, or to train American business to be more aggressive and entrepreneurial? And I'd also like to know if Mr. Trump would support a Canadian-U.S. free trade agreement.
Uh-oh, someone's calling from Canada. This is the beginning of the long arc of trade wars with Canada.
Well, I think, just to answer your first part, I believe it's very important that you have free trade. But we don't have free trade right now, because if you want to go to Japan, or if you want to go to Saudi Arabia or various other countries, it's virtually impossible for an American to do business in those countries. Virtually impossible. And I have many friends, they go over to Japan, they can't open up anything. They need approvals, they need this, that. In the meantime, Japan comes over to this country, they're buying up Wall Street, they're buying up all of Manhattan's real estate, they're buying, which is fine as far as I'm concerned, because they're paying premium prices that put people like myself in a very good position if I ever want to sell something. So the fact is that you don't have free trade. We think of it as free trade, but you right now don't have free trade.
This is Donald Trump's true position. It always has been. He is concerned about deficits, and he's concerned about fair trade. Fair trade. This has always been the case. And he's correct about business restrictions in other countries. Ideologically, many people in the United States, on the right especially, really believe in this idea of free trade. But it only works if everyone is doing it, doesn't it? You can't quite have free trade on only one side of the ledger. And that is what Donald Trump has always been saying.
We support so many countries that, I mean, you walk out on the airport and they say, Yankee, go home. They have signs all over, Yankee, go home, or we're giving billions. We don't give anything to our farmers. Our farmers are dying. There's no question about it. Farms that were in for generations and families, they're being taken away. The homeless are all over the streets of the major cities, the sick and the problems, and yet we'll give billions of dollars in defending countries that have 5 times more money than we can ever hope to have. It's ridiculous.
Lowell, Massachusetts, for Donald Trump. Hello.
Thank
My
you.
question to you is the following. You are a very wealthy man and have many contacts. Why can't you do more for the hungry and the homeless in New York?
Well, I think it's a very good question, and I'd like to. The problem that you have, and you have a major problem, the problem that you have is it's such a big, big dilemma. You really need federal government assistance, not even city government. The city governments have to be competent, capable, etc. But you really need the federal government to step in. That's why it bothers me so much that when we give this kind of money to the wealthiest countries in the world, and yet for our own people, the homeless, the sick, the poor, the farmers, who are really going through hell right now, those people we're not helping. And why should we? I think it's ridiculous. And this country shouldn't be raising taxes. We ought to be lowering taxes. We should have a surplus, not a deficit. Because the kind of money that I'm talking about, and you can call them, as the gentleman before said, you can call it a tax, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But those countries should be paying us major billions of dollars, and you won't have any deficits whatsoever, and then we'll be able to help the poor and the sick and the homeless and the farmers and everybody else.
I truly believe this is not a shtick. Donald Trump has been harping on this all along. and not in typical Republican style at all. The reason why Donald Trump wants the United States to have a surplus is so that the funds can be used for public programs. Republicans won't like to hear that, but that is his true feelings about things. He's been saying it for years. I'm speaking to both sides right now, right and left. Believe what he's saying. He actually means it. He may be hyperbolic. He may go after his enemies. But his intentions have always been the same. His politics have always been the same. Don't be so surprised.
Ocean City, New Jersey. Hello.
Yeah, Larry and Donald, how are you doing? I
How are
have
you?
a comment and a question, then I'll hang up and I'll listen.
Go ahead.
First off, I really enjoy having Mr. Trump here. As a 32-year-old business person myself, I think he is a tremendous role model for people.
32-year-old sounded very old back in 1987. He probably looks like he's 56 as well.
Young people like myself that look at him and write down their goals and strive to be better. That's the comment. The question is, I've always felt that NATO and West Germany, I mean, we have all those troops over there. I feel that they should pay their way. And then my second question is, and I'll hang up, is what other topic is near and dear to his heart? Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I agree with you on NATO. I agree with you on other countries. I don't want to single out Japan. I don't want to single out Saudi Arabia, but these are countries that people understand the kind of wealth we're talking about, and I will single them out. But there are many other countries and taking tremendous advantage of this, including NATO. If you look at the payments that we're making to NATO, they're totally disproportionate with everybody else's, and it's ridiculous.
So NATO, we've been hearing this since Donald Trump was first elected as president. He wants NATO to pay their fair share, as he says, right? This has always been what he's been saying, even back in 1987. So this is the kind of business person that the middle class was able to get behind. Many other high-profile, rich businessmen are too entangled with these big international finance interests. And there's a direct conflict of interest between the global financial sector that depends on low wages and low interest rates for loans and cheap money to loan out, and the kinds of people who like to build things that are actually tangible and physical, that required skilled labor. We live in a world today full of tech lords. Some people have called it techno-feudalism, but these were never Republican positions, not since the end of World War II. Somehow, Donald Trump has cast a spell on conservatives everywhere and brought them into his line of thinking by captivating their attention, by placing a spell and an avatar in everyone's minds and billions of minds around the world. When people attack him with hate, he simply redirects it into his energy. When people come at him with love, it empowers him even more, because Donald Trump is a warlock. Now Donald Trump has a chance to tell the world the things that are actually near and dear to his heart.
As far as other causes that are near and dear, this is the cause, because if we can solve this, then we're able to take care of something that I consider to be ultimately of ultimate importance, and that is the homeless situation, that is the farmers, that is the sick. We don't have any money. This country is busted. And it's busted because we're doing things that we shouldn't be doing. If we had business ability in this country, we'd be making lots of profit, so-called surplus profit. And that profit, that money, could be going to defend and I literally mean defend our homeless and our poor and our sick and our farmers. And that's where we ought to be spending the money, not giving it to countries that don't give a damn for us to start off with.
Why spend all of this money on missiles to blow things up when you could actually take care of people in your own borders? It seems so simple. But you have to be a madman in this country to collect enough support behind something like that. Now that you can see Donald Trump's heart laid bare, you can see his true motivations in this recent development when it comes to these global tariffs. Donald Trump has said that the tariff is the most beautiful word in the English language. It is not for the revenues precisely. It is for the trade deficit. The trade deficit and the government's deficit. These are the things he actually believes in. And this pause and this whole negotiation process that's been going on. It's not about being a deal maker. It's not about getting a better deal necessarily. It's about fixing the production issue. Donald Trump isn't just trying to bully countries into coming along to his way of thinking. He's trying to bully industries into building here. He needs the businesses to come back. It's for national security at this point. I am not saying that his policies or his way of thinking is necessarily correct, but I would advise that you begin to actually hear the words that Donald Trump is saying and realize it's not a big trick. He has very simple intentions. He wants to increase revenues for the United States, and he wants to use those revenues for social programs. These are the things he's always wanted to do. These are things he actually believes in. Now you have Republicans believing in tariffs. Now you have Democrats against them. And there are many more policies like this. People look at Donald Trump and they simply project what it is they want to see. Or they project what it is that they hate onto him. They don't believe that he can possibly mean what he's saying. And he has somehow possessed the minds, as though casting a spell upon billions of people around the world, and has transformed politics in the United States by his sheer will.
Hi.